Savannah Ré.
Hello.
Hey, what's poppin'? Everything good on your side?
Very, very well over here. It's snowy. You can probably see it actually.
Oh,
That's snow.
I was it snow? Like,
It is.
do you know what? I've been to Toronto 3 years ago, and it was during August time, and it was probably like the hottest period of the year. And I love it over there, man. And clearly, I can see because I'm repping the Blue Jays as well.
Hey, come on now.
Yeah, man. Like, I just love Toronto, man. It's so cool out there. How's everything in Toronto at the moment? Like, what are the traveling situations like? How's everything for you for this whole year, man?
Yeah, it's, you know what? Like, I think everybody's in good spirits over here. The travel situation is sticky. You know, everything going on. Like, I know that from here to the States, I believe the borders are still closed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm giving it till January, and then I'm back on the road, man. I can't do this anymore.
Do you know what? It's so difficult over here as well at times. Like, I'm on a national lockdown right now, so I'm in number 2, so I'm in the sequel. And literally, when we come back out of it, like, there's only certain hotspots that there's a tier system. So literally, we can't go to different places depending on the tier. So it's a bit mad. But I'm just trying to keep myself sane, you know.
Same. We just went back into lockdown. What, 2 days? Monday we went back into lockdown as well.
Mad.
Yeah.
Mad.
28 was nothing.
It's
right.
Crazy, man. I mean, we got to make the best of what we got at the moment, because I mean, all of this is kind of for the foreseeable future. So, you know, I mean, just take things to a positive, man. I mean, of course, as well, like, you know, you like in the performance aspect. I mean, you toured around with Jessie Reyez and TLC, like with this year, like with a lot of venues shut, it must have been difficult, right? Because you must want the urge to just perform, right?
100%. Like, you know, then at that point you have to like manage, like, okay, being responsible versus like the desire of performing, because I did a show. I ended up doing a show in Montreal, but there's no audience. Wow. And it's like, oh, weird. Like, what do you have to do shows? I don't know. It wasn't the same.
Have you been doing virtual shows?
I only did one.
Okay.
And in Montreal, which is about a 4.5-hour drive away from Toronto.
Yeah, I was meant to go to Montreal a few years ago because my best friend's family lives over in Brampton, and we were supposed to do that, but unfortunately plans were kind of like screwed around and I wasn't able to go in the end. So hopefully one day I'll be able to come back. Yeah,
100%. Montreal is great. I love Montreal.
Well, I mean, like, I definitely want to explore, man, much more. So let's take it back for our audience a little bit. So, I mean, you're hailing from Toronto. And, you know, when you think Canada as a whole, in the 90s, you were thinking alternative, like, rock bands. And obviously these times, yeah, exactly. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And obviously now, when we think of our current generation, we think the likes of Drake, Jessie Reyez, Tory Lanez, The Weeknd. Like, you know, it's on a different level to how we see, like, international stars in Canada. And obviously the type of music that you predominantly make is R&B. Take us back a bit to what were your listening habits? Like, what were you listening to in the family household before taking music on as an artist?
Yeah, well, you know, my older sister, like, from when I was like a baby, she's an R&B head. So, and reggae and dance hall and those type of things. Like, both my parents are Jamaican.
Oh,
so,
love that.
You know, we the household, but you know, my sister was the one that put me onto R&B. Like, it was like Lauryn Hill, Boyz II Men, Aaliyah was one of her favorites. I'll never forget, like, when she died, I was super, super young, and my sister was like, she locked herself in her room for like a week. Wow. Like, she devastated when Aaliyah passed. R.I.P. Aaliyah. And like, who else? Just I'm blanking right now, but like all of those 90s like R&B, Brandy,
yes,
SWV, like all of them. My sister, like, that's all she played, like, religious. So I think that's where it kind of like sparked my sort of like love for R&B. I started out as like a visual artist and a dancer before I
Oh
sang.
wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I guess when it came time to sing, it was like, well, what else is there to sing? Like, I'm so, you know what I mean? I'm so heavily influenced by R&B.
It's interesting because you say like you were in a dance influence before you came into music, and then obviously R&B was what you were attracted to from your sister the most. I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
I think Jodeci, I think Keith Sweat, I think Joe.
Yes.
You know what I
Odyssey too.
mean?
That's a good joint.
I mean, listen, I can go all day long in terms of R&B joints, and my mum was actually the one that introduced me to it when before I was listening to a lot of cheesy pop, like Euro pop, and then I was
Right.
introduced to 50 Cent, and that changed my whole entire aspect as far as musically, everything to do with like fashion, music, the way I present myself, everything. So it must have done that for you when you were introduced to R&B. Did you feel like a new sense of confidence to go, yeah, like I'm liking this?
100%. 100%. And like that Get Rich or Die Trying album, like that was a huge deal. I had no business at my age singing about no damn many men. Listen, that music was so influential to me as a kid. And yeah, like R&B was just so like it was like a confident way to like talk about love. They were also confident and made you feel things, and I don't know. There's just something different about R&B for me.
It's a mad one. Like we always get into the zone when certain of those tracks are played out, you know. And what I find interesting about you is that I was looking on your YouTube, and your first music video that you got out there was Paranormal back in 2012. Back in 2012. But
yeah,
and my introduction to you then was like, sense of vulnerability, and that's what you were presenting with. And then a couple of years down the line, 2017, you had Count 'Em Off. And
yes,
when I saw that video, like even the visuals, like Betty Boop, like, being as part of the visuals, being one of the greatest sex symbols of all time, I thought, yo, this is like a next set of confidence I'm seeing coming from your voice. I'm thinking, this is the shit. So,
yeah.
I mean, in between times, because obviously, 2012, I'm assuming maybe from before was like your introduction into being an artist in music.
Right.
Did you decide to work on yourself between times to repackage and go, this is me now?
Yeah. So Paranormal was the first. So, of course there's like, that was just the beginning. So there's like, you go through experiences, you sharpen your tools, like that sort of a thing. And I think it wasn't really intentional for me to take that much time off, but life, like I was still working, numerous jobs at the time. Like I always knew that I wanted to really do this for real, but those had to get paid and all that stuff. And studio time wasn't cheap, so I was just trying to find a way to do things. And Count 'Em Off ended up coming, and Count 'Em Off was really just to get some stuff off my chest and try something new. And
I mean, you certainly brought that confidence. I thought you weren't holding back for shit, and I was loving the confidence, boy. So I mean, it was around this point that you and Boy 1DA connected. Grammy Award winning producer. And that led you to the likes of working with Babyface, Normani, Daniel Ceasar, Wondergurl via your songwriting. How did you and Boy 1DA connect, and what led you to the point of working with all those legendary guys?
Yeah, so they kind of all happened like at different points. So, when it comes to like, Babyface, like I ended up meeting him through a friend of mine, an amazing exec, Megan Eliza. He was starting a pub company, and he was looking for like new talent. And it was basically like it's sort of a competition. It was like a competition to like, you had to submit your works, and there was like auditions, if you will. And then he picked like, I don't know how many people were, maybe like 6 to 10 participants per city. Okay. So they did Toronto, LA, Nashville, that sort of thing. And so I had gotten selected for one in LA, and it was really, really dope. Obviously we got to like learn and speak directly to Babyface in his studio, which Brandon's Way, which is I don't even know. It's like a blur.
I mean, I mean, he's a legend. Like, what did you feel a sense of nervousness like approaching him?
100%. What I'm learning is like, even with like Boy Wonder, it's like these insanely successful people are like the chillest and nicest people in the world.
100%.
Like Babyface, as soon as we met him, he's like, no, call me Kenny.
Raw. Government's there, you know.
No, I'm gonna call you Babyface. No. So yeah, no, he's incredible. And like then, you know, when they came to Toronto, they sought me out again to come back. So I was like, oh man, like, okay, like, yeah, I want to see me again for some reason. But then, you know, I had the opportunity to kind of like have like this 2-hour jam session with Babyface and Daniel Ceasar at the same time. And you know, Danny's my boy. Like he's not from Toronto, he's from Oshawa, but it's like in the greater Toronto area. And yeah, it was insane. We literally have like 2 hours of a recording of just, you know, Babyface on the guitars, Danny on the guitars, us singing. It's just, yeah, it's pretty, yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. I mean, like you got those connections there, man, and you know, obviously, you know, if you need to, you know, talk with them for any reason, you got that set already, man. So I'm glad that's happened for you. I mean, what was it like touring with Jessie Reyez and TLC? Because I mean, Jessie, you know, I've seen on the gram, like, you know, you seem to be cool with each other, like you're posing like no man's business, and you know, and TLC, legendary R&B group. Like, I mean, did you get to do some fun shit on the road as well? And then what was it like meeting those guys?
Yeah. So TLC was one show, and that was in Toronto, and it was amazing. And when I got the chance to meet them, I froze up completely. Like in my, I was gonna be like, yeah, like, love you guys. I grew up on your music. And then when I saw them, it was just like, it was none of those words. I was just in a panic because that's just how it happens. Like, that's another group that my sister like loves. So I literally like I grew up listening to them. So it was a crazy experience. And then I did go on tour with Jessie. And Jessie's my sis. Like, honestly, like the way that she has like rode like for me throughout the years has been just, I don't even know. You know what I mean? Like, tour with her was, I almost feel spoiled a little bit because a lot of people have like horror stories about their first tour or their first opening gig. And I absolutely don't. Was amazing.
I bet it was.
And with her, she gives her all every single night. Like every night she would like jump in the crowd and like just all of it. So I was like, listen, girl, you got to bring your A game.
Yeah.
Because out here, you know what I mean? Jessie's out here killing it, and you're opening. You got to set the stage.
You got to set the bar. Yeah, for sure.
Learned a lot.
I can see that you did, man, and obviously that connection is there too. So that leads me to Opia, you know, your debut EP. At the time of recording, like last Friday, and all off the back of being named Amazon Music's Breakthrough Artist of the Month. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
The track that really resonates with me most and I really love is Best Is Yet to Come. I love that song. Especially the line when you said, I push whenever you get too close, defense mechanism from my sperm donor. Sorry. I'm like, yo, I thought, yo, that is something else. And I mean, you know, Solid and Sacred, I love those tracks as well. You know, and obviously with Opia, with the visuals, you know, showing couples and strangers looking to each other's eyes for 4 minutes. And obviously you and your husband Yogi, who's also a producer, like you did that as well. You know, what made you want to bring such a deep message to the song? Like why did you want to bring that context up?
To the song or the project?
To both, really. To Opia first. Yeah.
To the project, / the song. I mean, I feel like what we were talking about earlier, where you talk about like Paranormals in 2012. Then I came back, count them off. Then it was a year and a half or 2 years later when Best Is Yet to Come. Like, so there's so much space between each journey. And I think for this project, because it's my first project, it was important for me to kind of connect those dots. You know, as people are probably like, when did she get from Paranormal to Count 'Em Off? And then now it's Best Is Yet to Come. What's going on? So for this project, it was very important for it to read like a story for me, and for it to culminate in Opia. The track is that it's a very introspective song.
And you're very introspective in general, like, you know, across the board in all your songs on the EP. Like, it's very, it shows clearly that you're introspective.
Yeah, and sometimes it sucks. Like, that song was so hard to write. Like, it was really hard to write because you got to really look at yourself, which is, you know, part of this whole, like, I put people across themselves to look at each other, but a lot of it is also looking within. So yeah, that was a tough one. This whole project was not, I don't want to say it was tough. It was great. It was healing for me, but it was all supposed to be very very honest, very candid, like that type of a thing.
And I'd assume going forward, like, you know, obviously predicting the future, that, you know, the more content that you're bringing out is definitely more of that introspective R&B feel. I mean, 100%. You know, what's next for you going forward? I mean, we're at the end of the year now, you know, 2020 is at a close. I mean, it's been a mad year considering, but, you know, if you were to predict what's going on for you, like, what are you looking to do next?
I mean, of course, I would love to be touring and stuff. That realistically won't be happening probably till 2022, but more music. There's never going to be this long of a wait for music ever again. I'm aiming for like first quarter next year, and just, more growing, more building, more music. Yeah,
more development, more self-discovery, all of that. Before I let you go, you know, because I put this out on Instagram the other day in terms of fan questions, and I've got a few there, so I need to say them to you before you go. These are mainly from Instagram. So the first one's from Taddy, and he says, what inspired you to write the song Love Me Back?
What inspired me to write the song Love Me Back? I was trying to get a particular person to love me back. I was
just simple, yeah.
It was just like, I personally was like talking to myself. I was like trying to remind myself, okay, girl, no, you are it. Like, you don't need this person to love you back. But then the same thing, like, why don't you love me back though? So it's really like a conversation and a dialogue. But that stuff, that was a specific point in my life. Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, I've got two more fan questions. This one's from King.Worldwide. When you started out, was creating melodies easy for you?
No.
Was it a lot of development, like we were talking about earlier before you got into music properly? Was that kind of your testing ground?
Absolutely. I think that with R&B, and because I was influenced by R&B, I did get melodies, but, you know, songwriting as a whole didn't come like super, super easy. It took years of development to like, now I can, you know, a melody will come out while we're talking, but I know it was not easy. But I always tell people to study, just study the artists, study the songwriters that you love, and, you know, then you'll be able to kind of build your own thing.
And you're definitely a pure student in the game. It's clear to see from your progression so far. Last one is from One Contract Cole, and he literally says, does she write scripts?
Whoa.
I was interesting because I think, like, you know,
you're
an artist, but, you know, I mean, are you looking to maybe, you know, music within film potentially, maybe?
Well, 100%. I mean, we scored the short film music video for Opia with the Opia song. Yeah. And that's probably times I've seen that done. But I haven't even thought about it. But that's a really good question.
Something to think about potentially. You know what I mean? Going into all different pies. You know what I mean? Getting that paper for different pies. You know.
Exactly.
Well, Savannah, it's been an absolute pleasure. I wish I could have all the time of the world for you, because I know you got a lot more famous shit to do. So, if you can tell our audience where they can catch you on all the socials and what's coming up for you, the floor is yours, darling.
Yes, 100%. My name is Savannah Ré. It's Savannah Ré on all socials. My debut EP, Opia, is out now. If you mess with this interview, you like what you heard so far, please go ahead and check it out.
All right. Well, I appreciate the love. Thank you so much. Like, you're the first person that actually has given me that love straight at the end. So I feel touched about that. Thank you so much. And when I want to come back to Toronto so badly. So if I ever see you across, please be my tour guide, because I want to do more exploring in Toronto, man.
I got you. Just let me know.
All right, cool. I'm gonna keep in touch with you on that one. So, I mean, Savannah, keep yourself safe, and it's been a pleasure to chat with you. And I wish you all the best for the future going forward.
Thank you so much, bro.